what I'd like to start with is social media. How do we find people that are in our ideal market? How do we post on social media in a way that's productive? And that people actually like what we're doing, that they engage with our posts, that they like and comment, share, all that kind of stuff that we want, that really puts a lot of traction on all of our pages. I'm mostly going to focus talking about Instagram and Facebook, but of course, as we all know, there's so many different platforms out there. Tony, I definitely suggest, with all of the recipes, getting on Pinterest, because that people go to Pinterest for recipes in a big way. So that would be a really great platform for you to engage in. Hi, Victoria.
Hi.
Okay, so with social media, this is the best way for us to find prospects, especially after we have gone through our warm market and we are out of people to talk to with our warm market, which happens very quickly in this business. When we talk about branding ourselves, what the heck do we mean about that? And really the main thing to remember with that is that we need to differentiate ourselves from all of the other Team Beachbody coaches out there, because otherwise we're just white noise. I'm sure you've all noticed, if you go on any kind of social media platform and you scan through and you start seeing other coaches, you'll see like stock photos. It's all the same kind of stuff, sweaty selfies, them with their Shakeology. We become white noise if we start posting like that. And it's not to say that we never want to do that. We do want to have our fitness accountability public, because that says this is what I'm doing and I'm consistent. And we do want to share our Shakeology, but you don't want to share your Shakeology where it's like, I'm drinking Shakeology. We want to do it where they can't see the logo, so that they're like, what's in their cup? Get them to ask that question, because that's when you actually get to talk to them. Because if if you're just like having a great day and you've got the shake in your hand and it's just there, it's not the center piece, it's just part of what you're doing. And they're like, man, this person's always smiling and happy, and they always look like they have so much energy. I want to be like that person. They will ask you, like, what are you drinking? What's in your cup? And that just gets the conversation going, and that's what we want. At the end of the day, sales aren't made through the actual posts. They're made when we get engaging in conversation with somebody. So with branding, we want to, you can have more than this, but you want to really have 5 main things that are going to make you unique. And the best way I can tell you to figure out what those are, because I know when somebody said 5 things, I'm like, I am so boring. I don't have 5 things. Like, that was my first thought. I was like, I'm screwed. I'm not unique. But really, then I had to break it down, and I was like, okay, no, I am a unique individual. What do I like? What do I do? And somebody recommended that take a picture of what you're doing every hour of the day, and then go back through the photos and see what you're doing. And that's, if you do that for a while, you kind of see what your habits are. And so for me, what I kind of realized is like, okay, so one of the things that I'm doing is, I do work from home full time now. So that's something that I want to share with my audience, that, this is part of my daily activities, is working the business. Another thing was, I like crafts. I make jewelry, that kind of stuff. I like getting my hands into artsy stuff. So that was something I could share. My cats are huge in my life. I spend so much time with them. It's so silly, but they're big for me. So they're one of the things that I share a lot about. And I love video games and Netflix and TV and that. I'm a very lazy person, and I share this publicly. And I find other people who have these likes and interests that way. So people who, like video games, they'll like my posts because I'm playing certain video games. But hey, guess what? When they see that I have a fitness challenge coming up, they need to lose 10 pounds, and they'll get in touch. So it's all this cross networking. You're finding people who have that same personality as you, who you really jive with. And really, at the end of the day, everybody needs help with their health and fitness. I don't care who you are, you need help with your health and fitness. We are human beings with bodies that need to be taken care of. So with that in mind, it doesn't matter if you're posting something that's not fitness related. In fact, it's better, because you're going to be finding somebody who really relates to you on that one-on-one basis. I know Serge was sharing some of that stuff that he was learning about himself, and so he started really sharing what he does as his primary job, which is he's a traveling salesman, and all of the stuff that's related with that. And this way he draws other traveling salesmen to him, because that's his ideal market. So with that in mind, knowing who you are at your core, what you love, what you can share that's unique about you, that translates into who your ideal client is. Basically, your ideal client is going to be you. It's going to be a version of you. So that means you need to kind of start reflecting on, okay, what do I search? What do I classify myself as? So you kind of start to look at, what are my age brackets? And usually a good idea to keep in mind is 5 years younger to 5 years older than you. And these aren't hard rules. These are just general guidelines. So that you know, okay, my ideal client is between 25 and 35. Great. What kind of things do they like to do on their spare time? Well, they like to cook, they like to go hiking, they like to go to the movies. Maybe that's what it is for you. And then you start looking at, okay, well, what do I search if I like to go hiking? Well, maybe I look up what trails are out there, national parks, different kinds of wildlife. See, I don't like hiking. I don't even know what they look up. So I'm just throwing out ideas. If you like that thing, chances are you search for it. So for me, if I like video games, I'm probably looking up what the newest games are, that kind of thing, or different little like interesting techie hacks and stuff like that. So you kind of have to put yourself in their shoes, figure out what they're searching. And the best thing I can tell you to do is go on to Instagram and search that thing and see what pops up. If you see a lot of businesses pop up, you're not using the right hashtag. You don't want to use that because other businesses are going to come and look for you. But if you look up a hashtag, for example, I looked up movie night, and it was all just regular people. Regular people use the hashtag movie night, which is fantastic because that means regular people, if they saw that, if I post that on a Friday night going, yeah, we're watching blah, blah, blah movie night, they would find me. That's what we want. So that's kind of the little 101 on it. I'm not going to get into extreme detail, but I think that kind of covers the general idea of how that goes. And we can talk on a one-on-one basis on what is your ideal market, what is your brand, and how are we going to attract those people. Things we really want to avoid on social media: do not use any stock photos from Beachbody. I don't think I've seen any of you do that. It's just one of those things where nobody cares. They just don't. Like, I don't want to see Autumn Calabrese for the 100 billionth time on my desktop because some coach was like, hey, here's Autumn with her amazing abs and the containers. That's boring. I'd rather see you up there with your containers, maybe eating your, 21-day fix lunch, something like that. That would be way more appealing. And that gives you your original flair. We do want to avoid doing too many free groups. My general rule of thumb is don't do more than one free group a month because otherwise you devalue them. And it also gets rid of the sense of urgency when you do run one. And the other thing, and this is a term from that book, jab, 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 right hook. Do not do too many right hooks. And what does that mean? What he refers to as jabs are giving the audience good content, and that means value. For example, Anthony, your cooking show, that's giving them a lot of value. A right hook is when you're doing a, guys, I am running this X, Y, and Z challenge group. I've got 10 spots left. First come, first serve. Here's what we're doing. That's going to be a right hook. And we don't want to do them too often because then we start getting ignored. They need to just be spiced in. And the other thing is we have to give value to our audience. That is really crucial in building trust and rapport with them. So we want to give, ask. Give, ask. And that's the kind of dynamic that we need on social media. Hashtags. These are really key because this is how people find us. And I know I kind of touched on that in the ideal clients area. With the hashtags, on Instagram, you can use up to 30 hashtags. So use 30 hashtags every bleeding time. Just do it. And that can take some thinking and some doing. And the other thing to remember with that is, let's say you're doing your sweaty selfie. Every coach on the planet is putting like fitness, fit life, 21-day fix. Don't use those because guess who's going to start following you? Other coaches. We don't want other coaches following us because they're already coaches and they're already running their own business. That does nothing for us. We want to use some more unique hashtags, and that again comes down to who you are. Even on my like sweaty pics, I'll put like Xbox 360. For one, I'm actually using an Xbox to play my DVDs on. But for two, my ideal client is a person who plays video games. So I want them to see the sweaty selfie posty just as much as I want to see them play the video game posts. So it's important that you kind of mix and match them in there.
Real quick,
yeah.
Hashtags, you can use 30 per post.
Yes. Per post. So just to kind of elaborate on that a little bit with the hashtags, there's everybody says something different, and I don't think it matters one way or the other. Some people say put it at just at the bottom of your post, and other people say put it in the comments section. Either way, people are going to find it the exact same way. Some people think it looks cluttered and awful if you put it in the post. I put it in the post, and I don't see it making a difference. So that's something you can play around with if you want to. I've tried it both ways, and I'm like, nah, it's just easier to put it all in the one big thing. But that actually reminded me of something I wanted to say. If you're doing a longer post, make sure to break it up into little bits. So like every 2 to 3 sentences, put a space. It might feel silly, but we got to remember that, and this is kind of scary, people, they've done research. People have 6 seconds before they lose interest. And if you put a big block paragraph, they will lose interest. But if you give them little bites, they will keep reading. It is silly, but that's how we are at this point. And when I really thought about it, I was like, yeah, I remember seeing a post that was like all bunched together, and I just skipped past it. So it's what we do at this point. All right, that's kind of the main stuff I wanted to cover tonight. Just another reminder, if you haven't yet, to go to all the different social media platforms. LinkedIn, I know you're all on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Flickr, Tumblr, Snapchat, Pinterest. There's more, I can't remember them. Make sure you secure your handle, which is the username that you go by on every single website, so that it's consistent, so that if people look up Fit with Coach Amanda on Facebook, they can also find Fit with Coach Amanda on Pinterest and on Snapchat and all the other different places. It just makes it consistent, so that if people are looking for you on different platforms, they have the exact same username to find you by. And I'm going to do a little recap from the Tuesday video that I did. Sorry, my computer's bleeping at us here. That's just about, okay, great. You found them on social media. Now what do you do? How do you engage in conversation? And with cold market, that always feels a little bit funny at first because you're starting from ground zero. And I feel like Victoria would be the best one at this because you're just so good at talking to people off of the bat. But this is one of those things where when you have the cold market, this is where you found people who are social media followers, maybe interacted if you ran an ad, possibly a referral if somebody, a friend, family, whatever, you asked for referrals and they said, oh, you know, my friend Joe needs help, and then you start reaching out to Joe. Maybe people you met in a general interest group on Facebook, or people who have sent you Facebook requests who you don't know. These will all be the cold market people that we talk to. And really my best suggestion is comment on what you know is common ground. So if they liked my fan page post, I might send them a message like, hey, I hope you're having a great day. I just wanted to reach out and say thank you so much for liking my post on my page, Amanda Rose Fitness. I just wanted to reach out and say hello and thank you. I always enjoy meeting people who have an interest in health and wellness. How are you today? Just get it out in the open. Maybe it's somebody you met in a general interest group. And I'm going to use my general interest group, cats, because I'm the crazy cat lady. And I'd be like, hey, thanks so much for accepting my friend request. I always love meeting other people who love cats. How are you doing? So you're just throwing in what you already know, and that's to try and get generate the conversation going. If you really don't have something to go off of as common ground, then what you want to do is, if you can, like kind of scroll down their Facebook page, see if there's anything you can comment on. If they friended you out of the blue and you're looking at their page and you're like, I don't know what to say, you can always go, hey, thanks so much for the friend request. I always love meeting new people. Did you happen to be stopping by to network today? Or maybe you saw one of my fitness challenges online, or maybe you're interested in getting started as a coach, different things like that. You can throw this stuff out there, because if you don't know how they found you, maybe they found a video you put on YouTube and they're like, man, I love this person, I want to get involved with what they're doing. Or maybe they saw that you posted for a free clean eating challenge, but now you're giving them the information of all the different stuff that you're running. It just gives them something to work off of. Now, we don't want to do this in a pushy way. You want to just kind of throw it out there and like, hey, basically kind of inquiring as to why you stopped by, but either way, just really glad to meet you. And I do have a text for this, which I will share with you guys, which I got from, what's her name now? Shelly Hobbs. She shared this in one of her videos, and I just thought it was really well put together. And so I'll share that with you, because it just makes for a really great introductory message, which you can tweak to make it sound like you. The main thing when we're talking to people, focus on building the relationship. It's really important that we never jump into, that first message with, hey, so glad to meet you. I'm running a fitness challenge. You should join me, because that's just gross and nobody wants to reply to that. It's just too much, and people don't want it. We really want to build the relationship and always make sure that we're asking them questions and going like, hey, it's great to meet you. How's your day going? What'd you do last weekend? If it's a holiday coming up, got any plans for the holidays? All that kind of stuff. We want to make sure we build relationship and foster trust with them. Go in with no agenda. This is the best way. It's like, don't go in planning to, I'm going to ask them about that challenge group I'm going to run. Don't. Just see what naturally, organically happens in the conversation. And I can tell you, most of the time there comes an opportunity to where they go, what have you been up to? Where you can go, oh, today I've just, I got a workout in earlier. I've been doing a little work this afternoon, and I'm probably going to relax watching a movie tonight or whatever. And that way you've kind of spiced in what you're doing. And that usually gets questions going. Or if you say you did a workout, they're like, yeah, I should probably do a workout too. Or, man, I need to lose 10 pounds. This just naturally, organically comes out, which is really cool. And it does take multiple conversations with people. I know I always talk about we plant the seeds. And this is really, really the truth of this business is that first conversation, very few people say yes. It really is when we get into the follow-ups that people come around. And it's really, for most people, it's between the 5th and the 7th follow-up that they say yes. And that's just statistics. So it really is important that we're tracking who we're talking to, so that we talk to them, you talk to them in January, you've got the idea going with them. They're kind of following your posts, making sure you're still doing what you say you're doing. And we follow up with them the next month, and you keep inviting them for several months. And when you think about it yourself, you're like, how many times did Amanda ask me before I signed up to be a coach? Many times we talked, different things like this, right? Because we did the same thing, right? We didn't jump in and say yes, even though now that we're into this, we're like, I need to go right away. So it's one of these things where people need the support. So really the follow-ups are the key. All right, so that is it for that. I didn't want to go too